So right now we are going to Carrefour, which is a very large supermarket chain in France, to show you what supermarkets are like in France and how different they are from other parts of the world. So this is Carrefour. It is the French equivalent of Walmart. It's all over the country and it sells a variety of different things. Bienvenue à Carrefour. So this is Carrefour during Christmas. They have a lot of different things that they have during Christmas every year, but they change a little bit each time. We can go see them. Celebration is a mixture of small chocolates. And over here, Les Cargo is little chocolate-shaped snails. They're very good. So you have a lot of different Ferrero Rocher and Raffaello. Ferrero Golden Gallery, and really popular is Mon Chéri, which is a cherry with liquor inside covered in chocolate. It's very good. And of course, truffles. Many truffles. My favorite is all the different Lindt chocolates. They're little chocolates, little confectionery chocolates, but they're large boxes you get for Christmas. It's a very special chocolate just for Christmas. And it almost tastes cold when you eat it, but it's not necessarily mint. It's very special. I highly recommend it if you can find it. So, a lot of times during Christmas, they eat things like foie gras, which is the fatty duck liver. It's actually very, very good. It's very rich. And this time of the year, they eat it with pain d'hospice, which is essentially a very soft gingerbread on top with many different confitures. So, as you can see, during Christmas, they have a lot of different ragots because there's many different kinds that come with different things inside of them and different ways to have them, different amounts of fat, but they're all very good. They're very expensive. They come in their own little bag, but you can have the bread that comes with them. It comes with little amounts of fig in them, like little pieces of toast to eat the foie gras on. So a lot of times during this time of year, you can also get Spanish or Italian. This is Italian ham. It's like a whole leg of cured ham and it's very delicious. At Christmas though, they offer a lot of different gifts for making your own food, and just little things that you can give to just anyone, as well as a large toy department for all the children. I really appreciate their liquor and especially cooking as well, so there's lots of different gifts for cooking. This is just your cultural area, so you have your books, cookbooks, video games, movies, comic books, crafts, things like that. Mangas and comics, because of a flood during the 80s of different comics from Japan. And comics are very, very famous from French and Belgium, and people still read them to this day, so a lot of the ongoing series are here as well. Whole area is for kitchen appliances as well as cooking crafts, so everything to cook. And since the French really appreciate culinary skills, this is one of the larger areas of the store with so many different equipment and styles and anything you could possibly need to cook anything really. They have clothes as well, anything from laundry, jackets, pants, men's, children's, women's, everything. It's a clothing store as well. Things for house cleaning and house care like dish soap, laundry soap, paper towels, toilet paper, but their toilet paper is actually pink. Okay, so this is not regular bread, it's actually brioche, which is very similar to American bread. It's like a light sweet bread, but it's not the same. You wouldn't use it for sandwiches, it's more for breakfast, and the whole aisle is brioche. As well, this is the milk, and because the milk is processed differently than it is in the US, it does not need to go in the fridge until it's opened, so it's all stored on the floor in containers of plastic. So this cheese is better cheese. It's more like farmer's cheese. It's particular brands that are harder to find depending on the region you're in, as well as on the other side you have more like special goat cheeses and different regions, other things that are very particular cheese you need for specific recipes or for taste palettes if you want to eat them, as well as appetizer cheeses. This whole area is just for brie style cheese, as it's more commonly ate. processed cheese, things for like sandwiches with recipes, grated cheese, but most of the time you don't use processed cheese in France, so this aisle is very large but less common. And the last of it is just the grated cheese. This cheese is special for a dish called la raclette, which is a dish of melted cheese, usually on top of potatoes and meat, and this area is specifically for that. Monto is very favorite. I like it very much. Just for yogurt, they take their yogurt game very seriously. There's many different kinds, different brands. You have things from breakfast yogurt to more like dessert yogurt, mousse, more like cheese, cottage cheese and things like that, but of course they all have their own unique style. This brand, Pour Maman, you can find it in the US, but the best of their products stay in France. Their produce section is very large because fresh food is taken very seriously. Only the highest quality and different brands. Another Christmas special they have is the candied fruits and nuts. They come in different boxes. If you see small fruit-like objects, they're actually marzipan shaped like fruits, and it's a special favorite of mine. Here is your bakery. So this is where you're going to find all of your baguettes, your fresh bread, croissants, just different bakery items. Of course, freshness is the most important, so a lot of these things, if they're not sold by the end of the day, they're gotten rid of because baguettes only last a day. So these are two different types of cake for Christmas. This is the brioche version, and this is the marzipan version. They have the Galette du Roi, which are just special for this season. This is more like a candied fruit brioche, and this is a little cake that comes with a prize inside. Whoever finds the slice with the winning piece wins. So this is like their little bakery. It's a patisserie. It's just like for small cakes for special occasions, but actually this is very small because in France you don't normally get something like that from the grocery store. You get it from an actual bakery because it's special. All of the meat is very fresh, and in fact, depending on where you are in France, meat has to get to the supermarket within a certain number of hours for it to be considered fresh enough to be sold. The French are very resourceful because they don't let animals go to waste, so a lot of times they will eat the liver, they will eat the tongue as well as eating the brain, which is a little bit too much for me, but it's part of the culture. The only processed meat section is actually very small compared to other parts of the store that are much bigger for more selection of items. It's also very fresh, especially since we are on a coastal town, so the people here do enjoy fish. It's kept on top of ice, and many of it was caught the same day or very recently, depending on the type of fish, of course. The oysters and the small crustaceans are very popular for this area, as well as the lobster. We have the fresh-made sushi as well. A very important part of the food culture in France. They have many different kinds, compatible with many different machines, depending on what you need. Feature is also very important, which is like our jams and jellies, but for them it's actually more different. It's a thicker solution normally, and it's more for being part of recipes, less of just on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Meal is very important as well, which is of course honey. You'll find though that a lot of them are not in the liquid form, they're more in like a waxy form. It's more natural that way, and it's more popular that way here. Just for anyone who came to our wedding might have seen, we did bring a lot of snack cakes from France. It's a little similar to the US, but it's different. Of course, you're going to find cookies and cakes, different kinds of biscuits, different kinds of tarts. Something that I very much prefer is a little cake called the Neapolitan, which is like a little sponge cake of chocolate and vanilla. It's very good. Let me see if I can find it. It's like a little cake, just the same way that this might be like the hostess aisle for us. This is their version of it as well. It has an area for the specialty of the region or the area that the store is in like this area specifically for Provence and provincial food that can only be found in this area as a special thing for the people who live here to have things which are more classic to their area. And then this is the chocolate aisle for many different brands. They prefer chocolate bars here to chocolate products. The same, they have their own different types of hard and gummy candies. Our liquid is very specific to this area. It's a hard candy that's been around for years, as well as Carrefour is very popular too. This area is very popular between adults and children, and it's added to water like a syrup to mix it around and create your own different flavor. They have so many different kinds. Everyone's got different ones throughout their house. Everyone has something they prefer. So wine is going to take up 2 aisles. This is the white and sweet wine into your red wines, box wine, and then on the other side it's all your rosé. And there's a lot of rosé wines because that's a specialty of Provence to have the pink wine. But it does take up 2 aisles. So on the next aisle you'll find more dry red and white wines. This is more like your sweet aisle. Reds on this side all the way down, and more dry red wines on this side, mixed in with some white wines as well. As you start to get towards the end though, it becomes sparkling wine and champagne. Remember, sparkling wine is anything that is not champagne because champagne only comes from the Champagne region of France. Our liquor aisle, and you will find all sorts of different liquor because the French really appreciate liquor, from rum to whiskey to scotch to vodka to gin. They just appreciate all sorts of alcohol, and you'll actually find that it's much cheaper here than buying it anywhere else in the world. For example, a personal favorite of mine would be Ricard, Pougon, or of Martini. You'll find that they're almost nothing compared to other parts of the world. Lillet is absolutely delicious. It's a very sweet, and it's only about $14 US for something that would be 60 in the US. Martini Blanco, also a personal favorite of mine, is only $8 for this giant bottle. Aisle, you will find lots of things just like you'd find in the US, like Lay's brand is here. However, the flavors that they have are much different. You're going to find a lot more chicken flavor, a lot more cheese flavor. Of course, we couldn't show you everything, and many things are very similar, but lots of things are very different. And we're going to go now. I mentioned that though they have a very big chocolate aisle, people prefer to get their chocolate at chocolate shops or chocolatiers. It's a little bit better quality. So you'll find that there's a lot of things that are very similar and a lot of things that are very different when you go to the different stores. Per se, you'll notice that in Carrefour more, there's an emphasis on freshness and on quality that makes it, especially for food, you'll notice that the food is just very, very fresh, and it's a lot more of the store than anything else. So yeah, if you ever have the chance to come to one, I highly recommend it.